is the assembly process. Slide it in there like that, and then put the little pin in the little recess in the extractor, and then if you put the receiver on its left side, then the extractor will just ride there as you're waiting.
Is this disassembly or assembly?
It's both.
Oh.
So now we're reassembling.
Oh.
Okay? So first you put this, actually it's probably easier to put the bolt together. Yeah, sorry about that. It's probably easier to put the bolt back on this little plate first. So firing pin and firing pin spring, you're showing this. Firing pin spring go in the back of the bolt until they go in. And then the plate, make sure it rides in the little recess of the firing pin. That little lip right there is this is what captures that firing pin. So and then make sure that these little tabs here, the plate goes in front of that so it fits down obviously, and the screw hole lines up. Okay, so that's a bolt assembly. Now put that on earthquake. Put that on the action bars and line up the little tabs, both sides. Okay, so that's together. So the tabs are lined up, and it's all holding itself together. You kind of have to press in on the sides of the action bar so they don't spring out and let the whole thing fall apart, and down on the top of the bolt. So hold it like this. And then make sure that the extractor is where it's supposed to be. Hey, don't do that, son. Not right now. It's kind of noisy. Hey! And then slide the whole works back into the receiver like that. So now the extractor is being captured by that. So now we got to put the screw back in. Just show that little screw hole, yeah. Alrighty. So just snug on that. So now that's not going anywhere. Okay, and now we need to put the trigger group back in. And this is the only sort of fiddly part. You got to get these notches right here. See those? Oops. Underneath these tabs here at the front of the receiver enough. And sometimes they kind of don't want to go in. See, there we go. That one work? It's not a unified piece. The sides are sort of hinged. So there we go. So did you see that? You can see that, but they go in underneath the tabs right here, and then the back will just go in to the receiver till that hole lines up. Put the pin back in. You can usually just push that in. At least on mine, you can just push it in with the finger pressure and make sure it's centered relatively. Okay. Now you can slide the fore end back on. And this is really the only tricky part I had, and that is, this is easy to cross thread. This is the fore end ring, or whatever you want to call it, and it will cross thread very, very easily. So make sure that you back it up until you feel it click really well, and make sure it looks straight and everything, because I tried this about 10 times and it wanted to cross thread it about 9 times. There's a little plastic O-ring in the middle of this ring that kind of fights you, I believe. I'm having some trouble here.
What does crossthread mean?
Cross thread means that the threads aren't lined up and you'll bugger up the threads of either one or the other or both. Come on now. Oh, dang it. I could do it without the camera on. No?
Maybe this time it's more tense.
Just imagine if the camera is not on. Imagine.
Alright.
Trust me, it works.
Alright, so I finally about 1 more minute later, lined up the threads, and you can feel it kind of go click as the threads line up. Don't, if you're not sure that it's lined up, don't try to thread it on there because it will cross thread. I do it again for you, but I don't want to because I just got lucky. But basically, you can make sure that it looks straight on the magazine tube, and it looks straight relative to the fore end, and then you can back it up until you can feel it kind of go click, and it will lock into place. So if you have the proper tool, which I don't, then you would use that to tighten the ring. So I'm just going to use a drift and my hammer to just snug this down. And that's about where it was when I started. Just make sure it's tight. And then the barrel goes on. And make sure that it's all the way back in here. There'll be a space here. If it's not, it'll like that. And you'll have headspace problems. But just make sure it's back against the receiver. You see that close? And then the magazine cap goes on. Oh, and if you want to take the plug out in the magazine spring, that will just sort of, can you see that right there, honey? You can kind of pry that out with the screwdriver. I'm not taking it out though, I'm going to leave my plug in. But that's how you get the plug and the magazine spring and the magazine follower out. So then just back on snug. Nice and smooth. Double check that there's nothing in it and do a function check. Make sure the trigger resets. That feels good. Now put the safety on, make sure that the trigger will not work, then the bolt doesn't unlock. That's good. So that's the assembly of the Winchester 1200. Thanks for watching.